Hello everyone, welcome to 8-Bit Nostalgia, and this is going to be the weathering of the Soundwave from Trumpeters. Just some of the tools that I'm going to be using. So I like to use panel liner just to give some accents to the panel lines that are already on there. And then I'm probably going to use a couple of paints, probably like this weathering black wash, and probably some of this Iron Hand steel from Citadel, and maybe even some Nuln Oil just to give it some, to give it like a little kind of a darker shade, or kind of like a U shade color to it, and some other kind of paints. I'm not a professional painter or anything like that. I just use whatever. So like my paintbrushes are really cheap, kind of like, stuff from Michael's that I get for like a couple of bucks, and that's pretty much fine for me and for the stuff that I'm gonna be using. I know that there's some hobbyists who I've seen some really nice work on some Gundams, and some other YouTube channels where, I mean, they do some really nice work where they actually use like putty to fill in some of the gaps. You could see a gap. You could see a gap here on this one, in this arm. This one gave me such trouble putting it together. Like, I was trying to follow the instructions, but I was just having so much trouble trying to get this arm done, and I finally figured it out. And then this one was again, I was having such a hard time, and it ended up getting all kind of like loose. But overall, the figure looks pretty cool. It's a lot smaller than what I thought. I mean, this thing is like, this is the size of my hand, and like this is the size of the figure, so you can see exactly how big it is. But all right, let's start to do some panel lining, and let's see what this is going to look like. I really like to use this just to there's a lot of accents on the model, and you could see how this kind of flows on these lines. You've got little dips and little dabs there, and you could actually see how it kind of flows through. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop these arms off just to make it a little bit easier. I'll pop off the legs. That way I'll be able to get to all the little crevices that I think I'm going to want to paint. And I typically just grab like a little sponge or a little Q-tip to kind of clean things up a little bit. Yeah. See, let's clean it up a little bit. And if you overdo it, like me right now, you could always go back with, a little bit of a cleaner and just wipe it off. But I mean, the idea is just to, like, instead of it being just boring plastic, just to let it kind of fill in the gaps a little bit. Just give it that little bit of that detail. I really wish they would make a shockwave version of this. I'll be honest, I haven't really looked to see if there is one or isn't. But I really, Shockwave is one of my favorite Transformers, along with Soundwave. I always like Soundwave. Maybe it had to do with growing up in the '80s and hanging out in the corners with the older cats who would break dance on their cardboard, and always had this huge, tape deck, playing some house or playing some breakdancing music. So always wanted one of those big tape decks, dual tape decks. So always had an affinity for tape players, and then having a Transformer with a tape player, and each cassette is its own little sub guy. It's always awesome. I like Ravage. I'm going to build Ravage in another video. I like Ravage, but one of my favorites has always been Rat Bat. I had him as a kid, and I've been looking for a Rat Bat when I go to the toy hunting. I tried looking for one, but it's been kind of hard. When you find one that is complete and has like the ears, I guess the ears are the big thing. That if it doesn't have its ears, but if it has its ears, it goes for like almost 75, $80, and haven't been able to find one. I don't even want one with ears. I'll take one that doesn't have it. But anyway, here you can see the difference just with a little bit of the panel marking, and it's almost like a wash as well. It kind of makes it a little bit darker. Makes it a little bit darker, a little bit different. Anyway, so I'm gonna speed this up so that you don't have to sit here and listen to me ramble on. So I'm gonna speed this up, and then you'll get to see it in fast motion. We got almost all our panel lines on the white pretty much done. I'll clean them up in a second. And now what I kind of want to move over to is doing kind of the same thing, but doing it to these black parts. So there's a lot of detail here that we want to bring out, some detail there. Even here, I know people aren't going to see it, but even bringing out some detail in the foot, maybe some detail around the neck. So I'll pop off his head, and you can see it's a little bit gray there, but or like a metallic black gray, but a little detail here, and we'll see how that pops out right now. So one of the things I learned just from watching other YouTube channels that do a lot of painting is having a wet palette. So this is really cool to like be able to just take out a little bit of paint. And basically what it is, it's that it's sitting on a little bit of wax paper, and under the wax paper there's actually some a towel with some water. And what this does is that it doesn't let your paint dry out as quickly. And as I've been using this same rag for all of my painting, so these are all the different colors and all the different things I've done, and I've had this for over 2 or 3 years, but this is my lucky rag. So I could do some of this dry paint. As you can see, this one's, I didn't clean this one very well because there's still a little bit of silver on it, but this is going to be my go-to right now, to kind of give this a little bit of bring out some of the details. So here I'll show you how I'm going to just do it first. So dip a little bit of the paint, come here, get it off of here, and then kind of just brush it on a little bit, a little lighter, not too heavy, just get some of those highlights on there. I think this one's a little too dark. This is the Iron Hands. I think I'm gonna have to go with something a little bit lighter. Let me see if I can find something really quick in my box of paints. Yeah, I think this one's gonna work a little bit better. See, this one's going on now. It's going on a little heavy. We can take some of it off, some of the excess off. Okay, let's do some proper dry brushing. Ever so lightly bring just some of the detail out while still leaving some of the other stuff a little bit darker. Looks a little bit different. Here, let's take a look and see how it's going to look here. It's not as heavy. It's not as heavy. Just get a little different detail there. Let's see. Yeah, you could tell. It looks just a little bit different between the one that has a little bit and the one that doesn't. Instead of it being just flat, just a flat black, has a little bit of texture, a little bit of contouring and texture to it. Instead of it just being flat black. And like I said, I'm no expert at this. I just watch a bunch of other YouTube videos and I see little tips and tricks that other folks do, and I'm like, hey, that looks interesting. Maybe we could do that, and just modify this guy a little bit, make it look a little bit different. So you don't want all the paint to be like heavy on your paintbrush, because then it'll happen what happened earlier, which is like I just painted it silver, and that's not what I want. You just kind of want the all the ridges that are up on top of this just to kind of be to kind of get a little bit of that silver on it, and it kind of... So as I'm looking at these, I'm kind of realizing that like the flat blue is kind of, I could add some black wash to it, that I could kind of darken it up, give it some more detail. I found this acrylic metallic blue. Again, this is I think from Michaels. Comes like in a pack of different, just like a pack of 12 different colors and stuff like that. But I was testing it right now, and I actually like the effect that it's giving it off. So I think I'm going to use it. I think I'm going to highlight the edges of Soundwave with this pastel metallic blue. And as you can see, it does give it a little bit of a different kind of look to it. I was testing it out to see how it would look, and I'm like, do I want to do it or not? And I think I am. I think I'm going to go with it. I'm going to see how this goes. Again, still using my wet palette so that the paint doesn't completely dry off. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to dry brush just the edges and give it a little bit of a highlight. And I think when I'm done, it's gonna look a little bit different. But as you can see, this is going to be very, very tedious. So we're gonna go back to high-speed footage time lapse. As you guys can see how I'm gonna highlight this, and that way you don't have to sit through my boring painting amateurish skills, and you guys can see the work as it happens. Here you can see the little bit of the difference in the highlights of using the metallic colors. So once they're kind of fully dry, I'll probably go back and do like another pass. But I mean, from a distance, it does give it like that slightly little different kind of look. Little highlights on the edges, kind of looks like it's been worn out. Actually, or some maybe even paint, like paint coming off. In some places I went a little heavier than others, so it's not exactly uniform. But you could see how the highlights with this metallic paint is actually bringing out a little bit of the detail. So I'm actually not. It's not bad. I didn't think it was. I don't hate it. Let's put it that way. I don't hate it. I'm very new to this technique. I've seen it on some other YouTube channels, and so I don't hate it. But yeah, I think it's gonna do the model a good service to it, to like bringing out some of those highlights and some of the little crevices that you don't really get to see. All right, now to continue. Earth wash. Where's the other one? A little bit of rust dripping from there. How about this guy? That was bad. When I first started doing washes and started doing these highlights, I used to go overboard. I have an old Zaku Gundam model that I had, one of the first times I ever did highlights like this, and it was just like it was overboard. Like I just did way too much, and but that's how you learn, right? You try something, see how it looks, and this is one of those where less is more. Definitely less is more. You don't want to you don't want to overdo it. I haven't decided, but like one of the things I have done for other models, like even I was thinking about doing it for this one, but like, having something with like battle damage. So I'll show you something that I did. So this is another piece that I'm working on that has nothing to do with Transformers, but this is a Gundam shield that I have from one of another figure that I was putting together. And as you can see, it has like bullet holes, it has some rust, has a lot of damage to it. And this is like work that I did to it. Like I have some other tools that X-Acto knives and little drilling tools that kind of does this type of like little damage and work. I took off the '08 was something that was already on there, and I kind of took it off, and you know, really making it used. It didn't look anything like this. It actually looked almost like if it was brand new, and the figure actually looks a little bit more like this. This is what the plastic looked like. It was very clean, but as you can see, I'm in the process of having some saber damage here that I use with a hot needle, and some more battle damaged here. I haven't gotten to the point where I'm painting this one yet, but I have done the legs, and here are the battle damaged legs. This was actually pretty cool to do, like this little cracked thing on the crack, little singed part right here with some battle damage here. So this is the stuff that's really therapeutic to do, because it's like it looked really good, and then this looks like small arms fire. Looks like small arms fire here. But being able to draw these cracks and then fill them in with the panel liner, and here I actually have a chunk that was actually lost. That was actually I cut off. But yeah, like this is the kind of the stuff that I like to do a lot. Like, you know, just customizing things and making them look a little bit different. So I was thinking about doing something like this to this model, but I think I'm going to, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this up, and then I'm going to build Ravage, and then weather Ravage as well, and then I'll upload a final look, and then you guys can see what this looked like. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. And if you like this kind of work, just, you know, give a like, subscribe, and I'll keep uploading my weathering and my toy hunts and the weathering that I do and the customization that I do to the toys. All right, thanks, guys. This is 8-Bit Nostalgia, and hope you liked the video.